Today we're looking at the brand new 7Artisans 9mm f5.6 for L mount. Well, brand new if you're watching this on launch day. Anyway, we're going to go back in time and look at when they unboxed it. There's a few little, let's say, features that we need to talk about. Then random samples. I'll be putting it to a lot of use and then talking about how I feel about it. Then it will be over to you. You know the crack. Let's get on with it. As usual, instructions, we don't need them. Quality control, I think we're generally happy with the quality control. Do not eat. And yeah, the lens itself, nice solid thing, which I'm finding quite typical of 7Artisan gear. Nice deep solid cap, obviously to deal with the bulbous nature, protected by built-in hood. That is cold metal. 463 grams worth. We do have a small cap for the L mount there. That is quite a nice chunk of a lens. Branding, typical standard stuff, not too wild compared to the nearest equivalent. So 9mm, 132 degrees angle of view, 5 diaphragm blades, 16 elements in 11 groups. Clicked aperturing, albeit that is quite a stiff aperturing from 5.6 to 22. That is really stiff, shouldn't be a big deal. And there's beyond infinity down to 20 centimeters. Again, quite stiff, sure manual focus ring. We'll see how we get on with that and comment back after some good use and abuse. Now, is this weather resistant? There doesn't seem to be any sealing going on here, so be very careful. If we find out differently, we'll let you know afterwards. Might require the square filter system too. Yeah, interesting. This is retailing for £459. This is going to have some fairly limited purpose. But yeah, let's see how we get on it. It's a solid thing. That is relatively concerning, but in the real world might not be such a big deal. Yeah. Before we get out, let me show it you on my S5. Would help if I take the cap off. So line it up. There we go. On the S5, not too bad at all. Balances pretty well. Anyway, first impressions are positive with a few things to see in the real world. Yeah. As always, I've given the lens a thorough testing. So how did it fare? Well, build-wise, solid as it needs to be. And as you can probably see, it fits pretty well on my S5. The rings still feel somewhat tough to use, but you know, in fairness, it doesn't really hamper the shooting experience at all. You know, this isn't a focal length that generally calls for quick adjustments, so I can't really mark it down on build and handling. So yeah, next we're back at the Library of Birmingham for some more samples, a few more from the garden, and then some all important interior shots. Image quality is a bit of a mixed bag, and I fear the S5 is doing a lot of the heavy lifting here. Now, you can judge for yourself how it fares on a lot of the aspects that we'll touch on, but overall, it's not bad. The lens performs best at around f8, which, given the general use of a focal length like this, is perfectly fine. Sharpness in the center is okay. It's not amazing towards the edges. The edges, in fairness, aren't as distorted as you might imagine for a lens this wide. Yeah, it's a bit too wide for real estate, but for a fun landscape sort of lens, the image quality holds up. Color rendering isn't bad. Contrast is okay. Chromatic aberration is present at a push, but vignetting, surprisingly under control. Ghosting, flaring, not bad. And finally, what little bokeh you can achieve is perfectly usable. Now for one last set of samples, this time from around Centenary Square and Brindley Place here in Birmingham. And then we'll answer the question, is it worth it? The lens is going for about £459, so is it worth it? Well, yes, no. There's not much out there that matches this focal length for L mounts. In fact, the nearest equivalent is from Laowa and is £889, smaller, arguably better, but I haven't had a chance to give it a proper test yet. So let's take this one as a nice half price option that's not half as bad. It's well packaged, it's got decent build and handling, give or take the stiffer rings, and image quality is usable, albeit not special. So there it is. As the only thing similar for L mount at this price point, there's no competition, and maybe there won't be. So if you get it, let us know how you get on with it.